Jeremy Adams continues the 1 Minute War and sets out a proper game plan for the heroes, giving each member of the Flash family a plot and part in the story, which would be no easy task being that there are quite a few number of them. But it's great seeing Adams utilize each member in regards to their skills outside of just being fast. The villains also finally get a little more play in the pages as well, and we spend some time with them, getting to see their operation and a little more explanation on what the conduits are and how they are people connected to the Speed Force or people who have immense energy, such as Superman and Captain Atom, for the Fraction to use to power their takeover. Kid Flash and Impulse are also the real stars of this issue and reveal a really cool connection to the world outside of Central City with the inclusion of Captain Atom, Superman, Grodd, and I like that all of these people are people who are very powerful and who can move very fast or have, in Grodd's case, telepathy so he can tap into a speedster's mind, so the Fraction would want someone like that under their control, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with these characters. Roger Cruz keeps up with Adams' story with art that leans into his bold line work and bright colours of the Flash family costumes really well. I quite like Roger's visualization of the Speed Force and how it's the background and the environment around the speedsters that move and blur, not the characters like some artists do, so it adds kind of unique take where you can kind of be there with the character as they are moving through the world at super speed. The Flash issue 792 really gave the Flash family a direction for combating this new threat, while revealing a few more key details about the mysterious Fraction attacking Central City. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. The Flash issue 792 finds Wally telling the grieving Barry that Jay wants to talk with them. Barry leaves his dead wife's side and meets with the family, learning from Jay that in his reconnaissance of the Fraction, they have found that their impenetrable wall can't be climbed or vibrated through, with the only way in via their tanks and jets. Wallace asks how they are moving at top speed and how the army is also moving so fast as well. Wally theorizes that the Fraction know how to use the Speed Force, except they have figured out how to use it like how they use solar power or radio waves, using it to operate their vehicles. Barry wants to get one of the vehicles so they can reverse engineer a solution to this, assuring Wally that he needs to keep himself busy. Linda asks what they are going to do with the kids and everyone frozen in time, needing a secure base to hide them. Wally has an idea about that as Impulse races off and Kid Flash gives chase, worried since when Bart runs off, everything usually blows up. Impulse admits to Wallace being right about that, telling him to stay behind, but if Barry needs one of the tanks, he's going to get one. Wallace gives chase as in the Fraction base, Admiral Vell screams at his men for failing to capture some speedsters. He wants to know where Miss Murder is, finding that she is out hunting and she hasn't failed them yet. He demands that they continue the culling, and since they cannot find the speedsters, they can find someone else of value to him. Kid Flash and Impulse meanwhile find a Fraction tank, speeding into the open back of it as nearby, Miss Murder and her hounds continue their hunt, catching the young speedster's scent and giving chase to the tank. The Flash family meanwhile use the frozen Mr. Terrific to open up Michael's personal lab to use as a base of operations. Max notes how Bart and Wallace are missing as the young heroes have managed to get themselves inside of the Fraction base. The heroes hired as two of Vell's men head for the tank, intent on going to find more speedsters before the Admiral has their heads. The heroes sneak into a grate in the floor where they find a stranger in a red box with electricity pouring through it. Impulse thinks that this is a battery and he wants to take it to study it. Vell meanwhile is alerted to his ship's energy source going offline as the heroes steal the battery, using it to ram some guards who have come to check out the area. As they hit the men with the battery breaks open and inside they find a boy. The being awakens, asking where he is as the heroes help him up. Miss Murder appears, letting loose her hounds to back the heroes into a corner. The prisoner reveals that Miss Murder can read their minds and they cannot escape, but Impulse thinks her reading minds is perfect, since all they need to do is not think. The heroes use this to their advantage, slipping by the villain and speeding through the ship as they try and figure out what to do next. The heroes run right into Admiral Vell, with Wallace sticking his tongue out at the villain and getting the man's attention, causing them to fire. The heroes dodge and the blast hits the arriving Miss Murder's hounds. In the confusion, the heroes hijack another tank nearby, unsure how to drive it, but the prisoner says that they are conduits. They just need to grab the wheel and they'll be able to drive. Miss Murder lands on the transport, trying to claw her way into the vehicle as Impulse asks if they have any weapons. Kid Flash hits a big red button on the console and a turret pops up on the roof, blasting Miss Murder. Admiral Vel orders his men to kill the conduits as back at the West House, Max and Wally look for the kids, when suddenly the transport speeds into the street with Wallace, Bart, and their new friend aboard. Kid Flash shows Wally the prisoner they freed, as Max tells Bart that it was foolish of him to go off alone. Wallace tells Max that they both thought it was a good idea, and had it not been for Impulse's quick not thinking, they might not be alive now. Max is glad that they are safe as they open up the transport, wanting to see what the cargo is, discovering that they have a frozen Gorilla Grodd, Superman, and Captain Atom locked in the back of the tank.